Every time Tom Ford releases a new private blend fragrance, it seems to capture the attention of the fragrance community. This time is no different. I am excited to be talking about ÉBÈNE FUMÉ by Tom Ford. Before we get into the review, if this is your first time visiting the channel, or maybe it's not your first time visiting the channel, but you have yet to hit that subscribe button, please do consider hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell icon for notifications for any future uploads. Okay, so ÉBÈNE FUMÉ is a fragrance released by Tom Ford just this year in 2021. It is a brand new release. It is considered an amber woody fragrance, and in the notes we have Palo Santo, incense, violet leaf, black pepper, leather, papyrus, labdanum, cade oil, rose, ebony tree, resins, and gaiac wood. For price point for ÉBÈNE FUMÉ, you can expect to pay $263 retail. It's a very specific price point for some reason. This is a little bit more expensive than some of the OG Tom Fords like Tuscan Leather and Tobacco Vanille, unless they raise those prices, which I don't think they have. I think they're around $240. This is a little bit more expensive, but it's not nearly as expensive as some of the more recent releases like Effing Fabulous, Rose Prick, Bitter Peach, the ones in the colorful bottle. So a little bit of a price break compared to some of the newer releases from Tom Ford. Let's talk seasons and occasions for ÉBÈNE FUMÉ. This fragrance was released at a really great time. It's starting to get very cool outside, and this is absolutely a cool weather fragrance. You know, it's ambery, it's a bit smoky, it's a bit leathery and very woody. So this is great for fall and winter. In terms of occasions, this is a great formal fragrance, a really nice date fragrance as well. I could also see this being used as a signature scent, but it just doesn't work, in my opinion, quite as well in the warmer months, or I can't imagine it working quite as well in the warmer months with the scent profile. But this is fairly versatile for what it is. But for my taste, I'm gonna reserve it for the cooler months. The fall and winter months is where I see this really shining. Let's take a look at this packaging for ÉBÈNE FUMÉ. So here you can see we have got the bottle. It's a little bit unique compared to some of the other Tom Fords. I know sometimes they do, like, I think they have white suede in this kind of a bottle where it's a clear with a tinted cap. But this does stand out quite well. You've got a really nice ambery juice color. Got some information on the bottom there. Tom Ford on top, as always. And then the box is really cool as well. It's kind of like a typical private blend box, but it's a little bit lighter in color than your average, you know, Tuscan Leather or Cafe Rose or anything like that. Not quite the same brown as those. And then it lifts off like that, which I have kind of come to hate boxes like this because I've had too many close calls when it comes to opening the fragrance and it almost falling out, but it looks really classy. As always, I expect nothing less from Tom Ford. Okay, let's get to the important stuff. What does this smell like? When you first spray this on, you are gonna get a heavy dose of Palo Santo. For those of you that don't know, Palo Santo is a tree grown in South American regions, and some indigenous communities there actually burn it in a ceremony to kind of cleanse their space or ward off bad vibes. So it's kind of a ceremonial wood, and it has a very distinct resinous, slightly spicy smell to it. Really, really good. Accompanied by that incense, which creates a smoky feel. The violet leaf kind of softens it up just a little bit. You also get into the base, a really nice, it says leather, but it almost smells more like a suede accord. It doesn't smell like that sharp, slightly fruity leather that you might get in ombre leather or Tuscan leather. It's just more of like a suede accord. I also do pick up on the rose. The black pepper that's in here is really nice, but I love the dry down. You get a lot of the cade oil starts to come in, which creates this really smoky effect. The labdanum is coming in, so you get this really nice ambery. I do detect the labdanum pretty early as well, but the more you get into the base, the sweeter this fragrance gets, and it just remains this really nice, classy, refined, ambery, woody fragrance that I really, really love. Really love it. Let's talk about compliments on this for a second. So I've had this fragrance for about 10 days or so, and I've been wearing it pretty consistently to try to get my head wrapped around it for the review. But in that time, the compliments on this have proven to be really strong. I get a lot of great reactions from this. I'll give you an example of that. I went over to a friend's house the other night. A group of us were getting together. We were gonna make sushi that night, and wore this, and I arrived and hugged my buddy, and immediately he was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, what are you wearing?" I said, "It's the new Tom Ford." And he's like, "That smells incredible." Just about a minute later, not even, I went over to my other friend, gave her a hug, and she goes, "Man, you smell great. What is that?" She's like, "I feel like I'm gonna stand around you all night just to get whiffs of this." And I'm like, dang, this is crazy. Like, this doesn't happen often where, you know, 2 compliments in that quick of succession just doesn't happen all that often. So about 45 minutes to an hour goes by, and another friend arrives. And as soon as I'm around him, he goes, "Oh, dude, you smell great. What are you wearing?" And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." Out of all the fragrances in my collection, I typically do not get that complimented on a scent. So if that goes to show you what this is capable of, if you want compliments, this definitely might be one to check out. Like I said, I don't get that all that often with some of the other fragrances that I wear. So this is doing it for me, and I'm really excited to be wearing it throughout the fall and winter season. Overall, I am very excited about this fragrance. To me, it feels like somewhat of a return to form for Tom Ford. You know, I've liked some of the newer ones. I didn't really love Bitter Peach. It's just not my style of fragrance. I liked Effing Fabulous a lot. I liked Rose Prick quite a bit. But to me, this feels more like classic Tom Ford. So if you're into those fragrances like, you know, Noir de Noir, Patchouli Absolu, Tuscan Leather, Tobacco Vanille, this kind of would sit really nicely in a lineup of those fragrances. And, you know, as an OG Tom Ford fan, before they were purchased by Estee Lauder, this is exciting for me. It has that, you know, those facets that as a niche perfume lover I really love. It's got the performance, which some of the fragrances have been lacking. We know, you know, back in the day, Tom Ford did not lack in performance. Well, this doesn't either, which I'm really, really excited about. So if you're a person like me and you're one of those OG Tom Ford fans, I highly recommend that you check out ÉBÈNE FUMÉ. Well, that is all from me, guys, on ÉBÈNE FUMÉ by Tom Ford. I want to hear from you now. Have you tried this? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What are some of your favorite Tom Ford fragrances in the private blend or in the signature line? Let me know. Let's get a conversation started down in the comments, and I will see you guys very soon.